a headphone jack anymore.
Okay.
Oh, it's understandable.
Well, so we're gonna go. I'm gonna do a quick raw live introduction because we just went live. So hey, if you happen to be joining Stormfront Freaks live, we call this Stormfront Freaks Raw because whether you're catching us live right now or you're watching us streaming after the fact on YouTube or Helicity TV, we're on as well. This is Stormfront Freaks Raw. So this is our recording. And you're going to get everything. So you're going to get all our breaks. You're going to get all the funky things that Jen forgets to say because she's live. Who knows? But you are watching it raw. So I just want to give you a heads up. If you do want to listen to our edited podcast, that's usually available the Sunday after we air this show. You can find that on Spotify and iHeartRadio and Apple Podcasts and pretty much any podcast player. You can listen to the edited version of the show if you'd rather not watch all the in-between craziness.
That's the mild Jen, not the wild Jen.
The wild Jen, just wait.
There's two. Wait till she gets a little more of her sparkling water.
Yes, LaCroix!
Look at that. She's got the LaCroix again. Good God. Old habits never die, do they?
Doesn't the X make a ch sound? I'm just...
Okay.
It does.
Wow, that's just
all right. So Eddie, welcome. We'll get started here in a second. I think everybody sounds pretty good. Eddie, tell us what you did today.
What did I do?
Your
I had to
volume
work
level
today.
and all that stuff.
Yes, I had to work today, like I normally do.
Okay.
Otherwise, it was pretty well it.
That was
Normal day
it.
for me.
You got a baby daughter, and
Oh yeah, well
all you can talk about is work, huh?
Well,
Well, there was that thing, right?
Getting used to taking
how old?
Girl. She is 4 weeks old yesterday.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
my gosh.
Should we talk quieter?
Yes.
No, she's upstairs sleeping now. Mom got her up to bed.
Oh, that's
Sleeping.
amazing.
Yeah, getting
Oh.
used to the whole dad thing. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Wait, is this your first?
Yeah.
Oh, get used to no sleep.
That's old.
Yeah. We're hanging in there, getting enough.
God
Cool. All
bless
right.
you.
So here's what we do. We got everyone looks good. They're positioned well on the screen, so that's
I think
good.
you look good, Phil.
Thank you very little.
Oh.
Jen's making her move.
Mic close to you. Don't bump the table laptop. Just a reminder, and Jen, this goes for you especially because you'll have your microphone on your desktop or whatever it's on to not bump it, like bump your desk or bump whatever it's sitting on because that'll come through. But once you use your arm, you'll be good. I would say this, Eddie, probably for you, you're using your laptop. So try not to maybe type on your laptop or things like that because
don't go like jamming on the keys is what you're saying.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah,
I mean, you can, but we'll just have to edit out whatever you're saying while you're doing it. If by any chance you get knocked off, just reconnect to the link. So I'm going to go ahead, do our normal introduction to the show, let everybody know what's on the show tonight, and then we're going to go ahead and introduce the team, the co-hosts, with what are you drinking, and I have a little something special I'm going to share with all of you. So, Eddie, you're going to have to bear with us just a little bit longer till we get to your interview segment because I am going to share a little something with our What Are You Drinking segment.
I can hang out.
And then as soon as we're done introducing everybody, then I will get to Eddie's introduction. And it's Eddie Sheerr, right? Sheerr?
Correct. 100% correct. Yep.
Beautiful. So we'll do your introduction, and we'll start with questions. And, Jen, just a reminder, you got a question, you just got to jump in and blurt it out. Don't be afraid to jump in, right? We're all sitting around the poker table, so
I like the poker table.
Feel free to do that.
Annie up.
And then somewhere there in the middle of the interview, I'm going to take a quick break. I've got a little plug I'm going to do before we take that break. But then we'll come right back, finish with any other questions we have for Eddie, and then do his lightning round. And we got a good lightning round tonight. Everybody can participate. It'll be good. It'll be a good time tonight on the show.
With actual lightning tonight.
That sounds exciting.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
No, sir.
Episode
Ready to roll.
81?
It is
All good.
episode 81. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to count myself in 3, 2. Hey, welcome everybody to the most entertaining weather podcast on your listening and viewing device. This is the Stormfront Freaks podcast. If you happen to be checking us out for the first time, hey, thanks for joining us and stopping by. You got to check out stormfrontfreaks.com so you can access our library of previous shows and other famous guests from the weather industry. Like we've had CNN meteorologist Chad Myers on, the Weather Network's Jacqueline Whittle's been with us. But tonight, this is episode 81, and as part of our Coast to Coast with your favorite TV meteorologist series, we're happy to be joined not by none other than this is a different country. So that you talk coast to coast, we're really going coast to coast. But we're joined tonight by Newfoundland's NTV Chief Meteorologist Eddie Sheerr. So Eddie's going to be joining us tonight as well. Thanks for joining us, Eddie. And we'll have to play some form of Canadian lightning round, so stay tuned for that. And our exclusive tracker chat and tornado talk segments, they're going to be here, and we'll finish with our famous hashtag WeatherFools and WX resources. But before we get to all of that, it's always happy hour at the Stormfront Freaks Bar. We invite you to join along with us as long as you're not at work or driving. Those are usually the exceptions to that. But hey, I want you guys to listen to this. I've discovered there is a fun new way to listen to our co-host introductions during the segment. So I want our listener to know the reason we do this is so that you can put a name to the voice before we get started, right? That's kind of why we do it. And we do this What Are You Drinking segment because we want you to know we like to have fun here. This is laid back. We talk weather, but we're sitting around the poker table having a good time while we're doing it. But if you're aware, a lot of you guys, I don't know if you know this, but a lot of podcast apps on your phone, you can change the speed that it plays back. So like you might be listening to a speaker and you're like, okay, I'm going to speed it up a little bit just so I can still listen to what they're saying, but get through it a little quicker, get through the information, and you can speed it up, but you can also slow it down. So I'll give you an idea. If you happen to be using Apple Podcasts, you can actually pull it up and you can speed up or slow down the playback. And so, guys, I'm going to play for you last episode.
The whole thing?
No, not the whole episode. Just the What Are You Drinking segment. I'm going to play back the What Are You Drinking segment so you can kind of hear. This was with Gary England. We had Gary England on last episode. You can hear the new way you can listen to this episode. You ready? We always like to introduce our co-hosts. So you
That's
put
amazing.
a name to the voice and find out what they're drinking. It's always happy hour here. So we're going to start off with just wait till Maz comes on. MJ, pony up to the bar. What are you drinking tonight?
I've gone to my old standby Captain and Coke.
Big cup again.
All glass.
Everybody's gonna be drunk before the show is over.
Is that Dina?
That's Dina. Yeah, that's good.
I think I remember that show.
Take it. Maz, what are you drinking tonight?
I'm
sir?
back to the Guinness Extra Stout.
Oh.
Have you?
And I'm already sweating. I'm like, I'm like, wow.
Turn the air conditioning up.
Turn the air conditioning.
Beer.
Bright lights. Dina, we'll
what
listen to Dina tonight. Welcome back.
Good old fashioned American Budweiser.
Wait,
Yeah.
she sounds the same.
America.
Marca beer. That's good. All right, so that's a new way you could listen to our "What Are You Drinking" segment.
Eddie's like, what
Slow down.
have I gotten myself
Yeah,
into?
which is fine.
Some of you guys had a good time.
If you need to go now, I understand. I'll just say that. But no, so let's go around and figure out what everyone's drinking. So MJ, I'm going to start with you here. What are you bringing tonight?
All right, in the fridge tonight we had Michelob Amber Bock, one of my favorites.
Ooh,
Perfect. Simple. That's all you need. Simple drink. Yep.
elegant.
All right, Maz. Maz, what are you drinking tonight?
I've got the Solace.
Yeah, it doesn't work. You're like, if you play that slow,
okay.
it won't work. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that would really- it's Rivertown Solace Scarlet. I don't know what it is.
Rivertown.
It's
Hey, I just went to
beer.
Rivertown
Yeah.
last week, and they
Really?
tapped it was National Donut Day, and they tapped a beer called Sprinkles. And it was made, honest to God, it was made with sprinkled donuts. They put sprinkled donuts in the mash, and it was like 11% alcohol. ABV.
80% sugar.
Wow. Well, yeah, it was good. It did taste like donuts, but it was a one beer, and that was good.
Is that here in town?
That's all I needed. That was up in Monroe. Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Wow.
And then, hey, I've got a surprise for everybody. We are excited and ecstatic to have back to the team. It's been 2 years. She reminded us it's been 2 years. We didn't realize it's been that long. 2 years. We are ecstatic to have Jen Watson with us. She is a meteorologist. Formerly at the Weather Channel, and she is a social media guru, and so she's taken her skills to the next level. But Jen, welcome back, and what are you drinking tonight?
So I'm probably the most hardcore out of anyone here. If you guys don't remember, I love staying hydrated, and so I brought the Intense LaCroix back. Now, this isn't just any LaCroix. This is pineapple strawberry, which is really delicious.
That's the hard stuff.
Doesn't get better than that.
Right.
Yeah.
It is the hard stuff. So, 2 years ago, when I was drinking sparkling water, it was because I was pregnant. And so, obviously, I'm not going to drink. But I don't know.
Wait. You have news for us?
No, I'm not pregnant.
Yeah, really, what are you saying?
Welcome back.
Actually, that did lead up to it, didn't it? No, I'm not pregnant right now.
Play that back at half speed. Are you pregnant?
I just love sparkling water, but I'm probably gonna have a little alcohol after this because I'm one of those girls that it's just like one or two drinks and.
Please, please join us. So let's do this before he leaves. We're going to jump to our guest and our esteemed guest tonight. So Eddie Sheerr. Eddie is NTV's chief meteorologist in Newfoundland, Canada. Eddie's career as a meteorologist brought him to TV stations. Listen to this, down by you, Jen, Macon, Georgia, and Grand Junction, Colorado, before he joined the NTV news team in 2013. He has a Bachelor of Science in Meteorology from Plymouth State University in New Hampshire. So welcome, Eddie. Thanks for joining the show. So this is the thought on everybody's mind. You go from having a job in Boulder, Colorado, and here in the U.S., you're from the U.S. Why the heck did you go north to Canada to be a TV meteorologist?
It was an interesting opportunity presented itself. I had been working in Grand Junction, I think, for 4 years. I think I moved out there for Macon in 2009, and it's all kind of a blur now because I've been in the industry for so long. But yeah, then my contract was coming to an end in Grand Junction, and it was time to look for some other opportunities. And I got the opportunity through a classmate actually who I went to Plymouth. He called me one day when I was looking for work, and he's like, have you ever heard of Newfoundland? I was like, no. He said, have you ever heard of St. John's? I was like, no. He's like, well, if you look on a map, it's a big island that sticks out past Nova Scotia, and St. John's is on the farthest east point on that island. And I was like, okay. And I was engaged at the time, and I was like, I don't know about this. But I was like, I'm interested. I was like, are they interested? And they ended up flying me out here for an interview.
Wow.
And the weather in St. John's, and typically Newfoundland in May, is really generally terrible. It's foggy a lot. We have a lot of freezing drizzle in May. It's typically not sunny here in May very often, and it's very cold. We can have days in May where it's 1 Celsius, so 33, 34 degrees, and that's not uncommon even towards the end of May. I got here in May, and
did your fiance turn into the wife then?
No. We ended up that ended up not working.
Well, that's because you went
which
to
is part of the reason I ended up moving.
Yeah, I'm like, because there's a St. John's in the Caribbean pretty
would've been
sure
a
that
nicer
would have worked
spot,
out.
yeah.
I'm just saying, you know.
A little easier to forecast, I would imagine too. So yeah, so I ended up moving. They flew me out, and it was a beautiful May day. This is in Newfoundland when it's nice is like one of the most beautiful places you'll ever see, and I was hooked, and things went well, and I moved here that following August, and I've been here now for 5 years. I met my current wife here after I think I've been here for 3 years. And we got married, and now we have a home together, and we have a daughter who's about to be a month old. So my life has definitely taken a turn that I didn't expect it to, but it's been great. It's been a great time here.
Was she from up north?
She is, yeah. She's from Newfoundland. She's from the central part of the island. So
you got to do that, because when we lived in Michigan, my wife was like, anywhere south or it's over. I'm like, okay, all right. Cincinnati.
She likes it here, but I don't think she hasn't lived anywhere else. I think it's like Stockholm syndrome. You kind of you like the weather here. You start to like it for some reason, but because you just haven't experienced anything else.
What have you found is like the biggest shock to you, besides having to say all the time?
Yeah, well, Newfoundland has its own dialect. They call it Newfoundlandese. We can get into that if you want down the line. But I think the biggest thing I've had to kind of adjust to living on an island out in the North Atlantic is like the ocean's always cold. So like no matter what the time of year is, the weather that we get may not coincide with what the calendar says. So I stopped expecting weather with the date. So like last week it was June, we're in the early June, and I was still wearing like a winter jacket. And for the first couple of years here, that would faze me. And now no, it's 35 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm going to wear my winter jacket today, and that's how it's going to be.
That's crazy. So what's been the hardest thing to forecast or transition of forecasting for you?
The hardest thing I have forecasting wise up here is just the difference. It's the storms that track to the west of where I live when we start to get the interaction of different air masses. And that's hard enough as it is, as forecasting, frozen precipitation down in the States. You get freezing rain, ice pellets, this and that. But you get another element when the ocean's below freezing.
Yeah.
So the temperatures aloft are 10, 12 Celsius, and you get a strong northeast wind, and you get a lot of freezing rain, and you can have wintry precipitation even when you don't think there should be wintry precipitation. And the computer modeling up this way is generally not very good occasionally, so you can be surprised with storms, especially ones that form out over the ocean and kind of back their way in. I think my third or fourth winter here, we had a storm that was backing in off the Atlantic, and it was a big low, and it was a slow mover, and it had the potential to produce feet of snow. But I was looking at the guidance, and I went on air the night before, and I confidently said we're going to get I think we're going to get 6 inches of snow tomorrow into tomorrow night. We got 18 inches. So
wow,
so
that's crazy.
Yeah, and the wind was higher than it forecast, the snow was higher than forecast, and it's kind of things like that you don't forget, and it's challenges like that you're forecasting tough winter storms.
So how did the bomb cyclone, that was that term made big news in January of 2018. Mm-hmm. How did that impact you guys? Was that a huge storm for you guys, or you guys get those kind of storms, low pressure systems, right?
I mean, to be honest, we get probably more bomb cyclones per year out here than anywhere else I've lived. I would say probably more than anywhere else in Eastern North America. Okay. So and generally the ones that really hit the Northeast US hard bring us 10, 12 degrees Celsius or 50 degrees Fahrenheit in the middle of winter and rain. Because they're so mature by the time they get up this way, the warm air is kind of wrapped all the way around it. So it's the ones you don't hear about that give us the big snowstorms. And the ones you do hear about, we just people here get all riled up because there's so much intensity with it. And that will really affect New Brunswick and Nova Scotia more so than it will most of Newfoundland.
I'm still amazed that you moved there from Macon. I'm thinking right now Atlanta to moving there. That's a culture shock. That's a weather shock. That's just about everything.
It's a different world up here. Weather wise, if I ever moved back to the States, I would never like if I had to forecast like 6 inches of snow, I would think it's a joke because like nothing closes here for like 15 centimeters of snow. Like it's not a big deal. Like we get 6 inches of snow or a foot, and like kids could have school the next day. Like schools aren't being closed for 3 days because we get a foot of snow. Like if the snow stops at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, like you're going to work on time the next day. Like.
Darn you metric guys. You're just messing with my
Yeah,
head.
that's the biggest change,
I'm
probably,
drinking,
right?
I'm trying to do the calculations.
It's
just
I can go back and forth, but it's taken me a solid like 5 years to get
bilingual
the metric system and not have to back convert everything.
That's pretty good.
But
So obviously, sorry, Jen. So it's very difficult to forecast snowfall amounts, and to communicate that. I think that's the biggest thing, and that's the biggest challenge for most, especially TV meteorologists that are going to be in winter conditions.
Yep.
And you have to try and it can be such a tight gradient between, hey, we might get 12 inches of snow, or we might get a 1/4 inch of ice. I mean, you don't know, and a lot depends on the track of the storm. So what's your specialty, Eddie? What do you think you're really good at when it comes to communicating, or how you communicate those kinds of things? What do you think you're good at?
I've played with communicating uncertainty since I've been here, because there's always an element of uncertainty to any forecast. And I think that I've gotten better at communicating like my thoughts on the uncertainty and not the computer's thoughts on the uncertainty, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy to go on air and say you have model A and model B, and I don't know which one's going to be correct, but here's what they both show, and we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. I've found that people generally, at least up here, they don't like that. They like when you give them your thoughts. So I try and basically look at the ensembles, look at as much data as I can, and put a forecast into put the context of a forecast into terms that is easily digested as possible to our viewers, and saying like, here, you're not always uncertain about every area in a forecast. Newfoundland's a big place, so generally someone's going to get snow, someone's going to get rain, and somewhere between is going to be the ice in the mix line. And I can say with reasonable certainty, like, the western side of the island, you're most likely to get your foot of snow. The eastern side of the island, like, yes, we're going to get some ice, but it's mostly going to be rain. But it's in this area where I think we're going to see the mix line. Could, be a little farther east than this or a little farther west than this, but this is the area where I think that's going to happen. And, be it right or wrong, I think you just have to kind of take a stand and put your own forecast out there, and not so much try and rely so much on the computer model data. Because, again, I found that my viewers, when I show the model versus model, they look at that as, I don't know which one's which. It's not me trying to convey uncertainty. It's me showing them that, like, I don't know which to pick. So, it's up to you to pick. And I try to just
smartest way to do that.
What's that?
That's the smartest way to do that. It's up to you guys to pick.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
it is, it's a great way to do it. Except when the forecast is wrong, I get yelled at. I get all sorts of messages in my Facebook box.
I like
inbox,
that.
saying I don't know what I'm talking about.
For those of you who chose Model B, sorry, you're wrong.
Sorry.
Thank you. Those of you who chose A, party at my house. Come on.
But I think like it's just I've just gotten really good at conveying the uncertainty. And I think when I watch some of the news coming out from especially some of the bigger cities in the Northeast, like the uncertainty isn't conveyed enough.
Yeah.
Everybody wants, like, I want you to tell me we're going to get 6 inches of snow and there's not going to be any ice, when that's impossible to do with the developing area of low pressure, because it tracks 30, 40 miles north or west of where the computer track it is, and all of a sudden that mix line isn't over New York City, it's up over White Plains, or just up in North Jersey somewhere. So small changes in track make a very big difference, and I think that's important to try and convey when you're talking about winter.
So you said 6 inches of snow. How much is that in centimeters?
15 centimeters. Always sounds more impressive in centimeters, always.
Yeah.
That's impressive. I love that.
That is impressive.
I might use that for all kinds of stuff.
So I've got a question, Eddie. So like now going back to when you were in Colorado, what was it like experiencing the weather there? Like Lee cyclogenesis, all like the mid-latitude cyclones
Yeah.
and like what is your favorite type of weather? Did you go storm chasing when you were in Colorado?
Well, I lived out in Grand Junction, which is like high desert. So the weather there was sunny like 300 days a year.
Yeah.
It was lovely in the summer going in for my shift, which was like 2 to 11, and putting like 90 and sunny for 8 days in a row, and basically being able to do a forecast blindfolded. But I did enjoy forecasting the snow in Colorado. That was always fun. I never really we didn't get a lot of thunderstorms on the western slope.
That's true.
But we did get to forecast a lot of mountain weather, and I got pretty good at forecasting Colorado mountain weather because that's pretty much where it was. In Grand Junction, we would average like 9 inches of total precipitation through the course of a year, which is not very much. So I went from forecasting in a desert, which is exceptionally, it has its challenges obviously because you have terrain, so you're playing with upslope, downslope winds, and this, that, and the other, to here where like the weather is exceptionally challenging, and that's how it is most of the time. Easy weather is like the exception to the rule here.
So where did you grow up, Eddie?
I grew up outside of Philadelphia.
Okay.
So,
he's still got a little of his his Eastern accent.
Everyone says I
West,
speak funny
West
now.
Philadelphia, born and raised.
Yeah, the northeast suburbs of Bucks County.
Well, hey, I got one question before we go to break. How do the warnings and the warning system, how does that differ in Canada than it does here in the States as far as, we have here the watches and warnings and all those kinds of things? What is it same or is there some differences?
It's similar, but different.
Okay, thank you for that answer. That's very clear.
They like the warnings, and both countries have their warnings, and both countries have their specific warnings, and I think they're similar in that regard. What irks me about the Canadian warnings is they don't issue start-stop times. So they'll issue like a snowfall warning, which is I think you're expecting like 15 centimeters of snow in something like 12 or 18 hours. The criteria is a bit odd, but there won't be a start-stop time, and which to me is like it's no brainer that there should be. Like it should, like snow's going to start at 8 o'clock in St. John's, and the warning goes from 8 to midnight, and that's when you can expect the snow. So there's no start-stop times, and they do a lot of warnings as separate. When you're trying to broadcast, gets very annoying at times. And I know it's just the policy, but to me, like when we have snow and wind, like almost regardless of the snow amount, that should be like a winter storm warning when we're expecting, like, even if it's 6 inches of snow and you're expecting, winds to be gusting 50, 60 miles an hour, like that should be a winter storm warning. But you'll get a snowfall warning and a wind warning for the same area, which to me, it's a lot to convey. And I think to our viewers, it's a lot to kind of digest at the same time. So I would like to see the warnings a bit more concise in Canada compared to the US, where I think they have the winter side of it pretty well covered.
Could you use that to your advantage? So if there's no start or stop time, can you be like, winter storm warning, January?
That's not a bad idea.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like winter storm warning for Thursday.
Sometime Thursday.
When?
That's right.
Yeah.
Let
me tell you.
And that's what people always want to know. Like I could put on a snowfall map on my Facebook page, and I could spend like hours making it, and everyone's like, when is it going to start here? When is it going to start there?
Yep.
That's the only thing people like really want to know is like the start-stop times. Like almost the amount is like irrelevant, but start-stop time seems to be very important.
Well, let me, Jen, I got a question for you. I'm putting you on the spot now, but what's your favorite daily weather app? What's your go-to weather app to go, hey, what's the weather going to be like today?
He's setting you up.
When?
He's setting you up.
Not really.
Wait, did you say Jen or Eddie?
Jen. I said Jen. I said I'm putting you on the spot.
You did, and I was just like, wait a minute.
No, I'm putting you on the spot. What's your favorite?
My favorite weather app. Well, I go to Radar Scope all the time just to look for, like, I don't know. That's just what I use. But I would say the Weather Channel. For temps and what okay, for stuff like that. Well, tell you what, I've got a new one for you. Oh my God.
That you got to try. It's called Atmosphere Weather. And I'm telling you, it's the last daily weather app you're going to use, Atmosphere Weather. It's all about presenting the entire daily forecast each hour on one screen around a 24-hour clock. So you just look at one page, boom, you got the whole 24 hours, next 24 hours are laid out for you. And now, Android baseball fans, you can view each day's game and the time right on the hourly weather dial. So you can see what time the game's going to be, what the weather's going to be like. And if it looks good, you can order tickets to the game right from the app.
Whoa.
Which is pretty cool. And that feature is also coming. If you have iOS, you got an Apple iPhone, that's coming soon. But you got to try it to believe it. Stop what you're doing right now. I give you permission. You can pause the podcast, and you can download Atmosphere Weather now. It's on iOS and Android. There's a full-featured free trial. Then there's a basic version that's free once the trial's over. So you got to trust me. Search Atmosphere Weather in your app store, or just go ahead and visit atmosphereweather.com. Lots of great videos and everything else. But we're going to go ahead. We're going to take a short break. Go ahead and refill your drink. You can check out Tracker Chat. This is from the Tornado Trackers and their segments on sharing storm videos. So we'll be right back in just a moment.
So,
all right.
Will they like that in Canada if there's a start and stop time on the app?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
Oh, wow,
Actually, I did find out you can't Atmosphere. Oh, there it is. Look at
It
that.
looks
Does it work in
really
Canada?
awesome.
Like no weather apps.
It
work
does
in
not.
Canada.
No, it
Yeah.
doesn't work in Canada.
Oh, really?
Sorry. I
Radar
looked it
scope
up
does.
too because that question I would have gone to Eddie, but
Yeah.
it didn't work. So
You can't use it.
Radar scope.
all right. So before we come back, anybody have anything before we come back? And I still have a couple questions for Eddie.
Did you paint that picture that's beside you to your right there, Eddie?
I did
You're
not.
right.
That is I need to get my office in order here, so I apologize for the looks of it.
No, it's okay. I just thought you're brilliant.
No, I didn't paint that. That's a picture. I should bring it closer.
It's a photo. It's not a painting.
It's a photo. I don't know exactly where it is, where it was taken, but there's the cliffs of Newfoundland, and out in the distance there, you can see an iceberg out in the fog.
Okay, so I got a question when we come back.
Sure.
Okay. Do you have a question right away?
Sure.
You want to go first? Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. So I'll just say, hey, welcome back. We're with Newfoundland's. I say Newfoundland, but it's
Stop right
Newfoundland.
there. Don't do it. Don't do it. Wait,
Okay.
I'm going to ask
All
the
right.
question.
Okay.
That's my question.
All right. So we'll go ahead. We'll come back here in 3, 2. All right. Hey, welcome back, everybody. We've got Newfoundland's Eddie Sheerr from NTV with us. That's NTV, not MTV. There's a little bit of a difference there.
there
But Maz, you said you had a question.
Let's rock and roll. Yeah. So, like, if you go to New Orleans, you can say New Orleans like 9 different ways: New Orleans, New Orleans, et cetera.
Yeah.
So I never knew how to pronounce where you are, and I thought I met some people like when I was in my 20s, so it was a long time ago, and they said if you say "understand Newfoundland," is that close, or what's the good way to remember how to say it?
That's it. That's how you say it.
That's it.
Yeah, Newfoundland. Like understand Newfoundland.
Newfoundland.
Yeah.
There you
Not
go.
Newfoundland. Newfoundland.
Perfect.
It's like Adventureland or
Yeah.
Hmm.
Or Greenland or
Greenland
Iceland.
or what else
Go
is in
start
Disney
stop
World?
land.
It's
Yeah.
it's a small world land.
You just emphasize the land, it's like new. It's like NEWFUNDLAND is how you like Newfoundland.
Newfoundland.
Okay, well, I'm still going to say it my way. So
NEWFIN,
tough.
Newfoundland.
All right, this is the question everybody wants to know, Eddie. I'm going to put you on the spot. You might get in trouble with this. I don't know.
I might
Are you ready? You're sweating a little bit.
might get in trouble for complaining about the Environment Canada warnings too.
Well, that actually does go with another question, but this is the big one, and I'm
Yeah.
sorry to throw it on you, but why cats?
Why cats?
Why cats?
Why do I have a cat?
Yeah, I noticed you have a cat.
I do. He's adorable. His name is Denver,
Oh.
and he's diabetic.
It's a diabetic
He requires insulin needles twice a day.
Wow.
Jeez, wow.
How do you
That's
get a
high
cat?
maintenance cat.
And
built for
you
that.
should. His food costs like $80 a month.
Oh my God.
He's the most. He
geez.
he needs to get a job. Like this cat. I don't have the heart to like. I love him too much to have the heart to do anything with him. So we just and he gets like sometimes he gets sick, but never sick enough. Like my wife and I love
Never
him so
sick
much,
enough.
but he's
What does
never like,
that
sick enough
mean?
to make a choice. It's like
Oh.
like we think there's something wrong with him, but he's he's got a lot of
Hang
lines.
on.
Does
He's hanging
Canada
in
have
there.
Not quite dead yet.
Does Canada have like cat food stamps or anything to kind of help
They
you out?
should. They should have cat welfare or something.
All right, so you talked about getting into trouble. So here's my question. So
Yeah.
there was just I'm going to bring this up in Weather Fools later on in the show, but there was an individual down in Illinois, chief meteorologist, that got online to voice his frustration with his company's choice of code red days or whatever it was called, red alert days, whatever it is, and because he basically was talking to his viewers and said, hey, this is hard to communicate when the situations or the weather scenario doesn't call for warning and hype and all that kind of stuff, and he was just recently fired yesterday for speaking out against that. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think,
and your feelings, more importantly, probably.
My feelings on it are he was being brutally honest, and I think he knew exactly what he was doing. I think Joe knew exactly what he was doing when he went and basically ranted about that on air to the viewers. Apparently, they have been getting numerous complaints, emails, phone calls, letters about these code red days, and getting back to that, like obviously television stations need viewers to stay alive. And there's a large portion, I think, that of potentially consultants and management that for years has been saying, they're going to come watch your weather forecasts. If you make it seem like it's going to be bad, they're going to come watch your weather forecasts. But like, how many times can you do that? And the weather ends up not being that bad. And, then you end up losing your credibility. So there's a fine line you need to walk from when you're trying to say, like, there is a dangerous weather situation here that we need to really pay attention to like, the weather's kind of marginally dangerous. And I think he was trying to basically convey that, like, we have to put this code red out even when I think that the weather may not necessitate a code red. And I think what he did was excellent and brave, and the result is terrible for him and his family. But I think his community's rallied around him, and hopefully it gets some change, and hopefully opens up some people's eyes about just making sure that we're trying to convey accurate weather and not trying to just hype things up.
Well, it's a little bit like breaking news too, because breaking news. I'm
Right.
like, okay, breaking news in the last segment and this segment. Seriously, after a while, people tune it out, and you don't want people to tune out, a code red day.
No, like when there is actual weather that is going to be serious and dangerous, you want to convey that and be serious. But if you do that all the time, then where's the line in your communication, and when are you going to be taken seriously? And that's the question I think a lot of folks like to ask themselves. And I mean, luckily here we don't have a lot of severe weather, but down in the Midwest, in the plains, I mean, there are days where it's generally very dangerous, and there are days when it may not be. But you want to really hit hard on those dangerous days, and maybe not all the time.
Those are the really code red days. So there is a little bit of a difference.
When you're in a moderate to high risk day, I mean,
that's really
a code red.
Yeah.
Day.
Is that the same as a red letter day? Is that the same thing, or are we talking about two different things? Red letter.
I love you so much. I miss you.
Do you have another question, Jen?
Well, I was gonna so this is totally random and fun, Eddie, and I don't know if I'm even like whale watching in icebergs. Are they around you guys?
We have the best whale watching and the best icebergs in Eastern North America.
I love that. Do you ever
laying it down?
Yeah. Do you see pieces like chunks of icebergs like crashing down? Have you seen one in person? Because I know there's like little tours you can go on.
I haven't seen like an iceberg breaking up in person, but like this year we had an exceptionally terrible spring weather-wise, which generally means we get a lot of northerly and northeasterly winds. And when you have prolonged periods of weather like that, all of the icebergs calve off the glaciers in western, and they get moved down the Labrador Current this time of year. And when you have northerly winds, they push those icebergs toward Newfoundland. So like this year, and not last year, but the year before, we had an exceptional iceberg season. Like meaning like if you draw, like here in St. John's, I've seen a few this year, but nothing like spectacular. But there are places around the island where you can drive and there are massive icebergs stuck in these little communities. And they are awesome to look at and huge. And icebergs are so big. Like when you see a big one in person, it's amazing. And it's even more amazing to realize that 90% of it is still underwater.
Wow.
So icebergs are like to me, like Newfoundlanders, like they're like, icebergs, you have them all the time. Like, it's not a big deal. But like I see icebergs and I get really excited. And like, it's amazing to see one that's like probably like, a few miles offshore and it looks huge. And you're
do they issue like iceberg warnings? Watches and warnings and
no, they
last all season.
There's icebergs that are put out every day, but there are like ice pressure warnings and stuff that we have on like the western side of the island where you have a lot of sea ice in the winter.
Ice pressure,
yeah.
What's the difference?
Well, you have sea ice, and so like sea ice forms around parts of northern and central Newfoundland and the coast of Labrador like every winter. And the sea ice moves with the winds. So when you have, let's say, you have sea ice that forms in the Gulf of St. Lawrence and you have a prolonged period of westerlies. The sea ice, like water, just gets kind of pushed up against the coastline. And the longer that wind blows, the more the ice gets pushed and the tighter the pressure gets along the coast. We have ferries that get stuck and stuff in ice and this and that when you start to get those prolonged westerly stretches of winds in the springtime.
Have you ever tasted one?
An iceberg? Yeah. Well, what happens is you get these little bergy bits. You get bergy bits that break off the iceberg and they wash ashore. And the iceberg ice is like super duper dense. And you can like take it and make a drink with it and it'll stay frozen for like hours.
That's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Bergy bits.
There's a money idea there. There's a money idea. I'm saying.
Newfoundland, like I'm telling you, like Newfoundland is like one of the. It's a gym. It's one of the prettiest places you will go to on the eastern side of North America. It's a bit hard to get to, but if you get here in like June or July, the coastline and the scenery is just unbelievable. The whale watching, icebergs, seabirds, coastlines. It's beautiful here, and that's part of what's kept me here.
What's the big drink up there that people drink?
Screech.
So do you get like Screech with bergy bits then? Is that like
you can get? So Screech is like it's like dark. So
you broke up there. What is Screech?
Screech is dark. It's dark rum. It's like basically it's like Captain Morgan's. It's like a version of dark rum. There's a whole story that goes with it that I
Nice.
couldn't tell because
I can tell I like it already.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's good stuff. But yeah, Screech is like the Newfoundland. It's one of the Newfoundland. A lot of beer as well.
All right.
But Screech is a big one.
Well, hey, that's the sign. That's the second time of that, by the way. But that's the sign. It is time for our lightning round. So this is our game show of brilliant questions that we always play with our guests, and we invite our listeners to play along as well. But tonight, Eddie, to celebrate the fact that you're Canadian now, but you weren't American before. I don't know what you call that.
He's dual.
There's are you a dual citizen? Are you dual?
I'm working there.
Not yet. Working on it. All right, so he's still an alien.
Can you sneak across the border?
Very carefully.
But here's what we're playing tonight, guys. We're going to play a game called Border Patrol. Border Patrol. So this comes from thetravel.com, and there are strange things confiscated at the border. So here's what I'm going to do, Eddie. I'm going to start listing some bizarre things that have been confiscated at the border, and you need to tell me, was this confiscated at a U.S. border or at a Canadian border? And this
Wait a minute.
there's really no rhyme or reason. Good luck at trying to figure this out. These are either Canadian agents or U.S. agents.
Okay.
And the U.S., here's the thing. If it's U.S., it could also be other borders as well. But we're just playing border patrol, so you got to tell me which is which.
It's like
Does that make
the
sense?
Iowa side or the Nebraska side, sort of what you're saying.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, you just say. So you just got to tell me: was this a U.S. agent that confiscated or found this, or was this a Canadian agent? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. So here's the first one. This one is called car seat person. This was an illegal person entering the country inside the seat of a car. So don't think baby car seat. Think minivan, back seat with armrests. And there literally was a person inside the seat, and their arms were in the armrests, and they were trying to hide in the car seat. Was this found by the U.S. Border Patrol or the Canadian Border Patrol?
I'm going to go with U.S. Border Patrol on that one.
Oh,
And you would be correct. That was U.S.
Oh,
Border
man.
Patrol.
that's crazy.
That was actually on the U.S.-Mexico border, by the way. All right, here's the next one.
Oh, yeah.
A roasted pig head. This was intercepted at an airport by a canine sniffing beagle. It was literally a roasted pig head. Did this happen in the U.S. or Canada?
Ooh. I'm going to say U.S.
You would
Yeah?
be correct as well. U.S. So you're 2 for 2, my friend. All right, here we go. Sausage in diapers. Literally sausage wrapped in foil, plastic, and diapers, and was thwarted by a canine.
So many.
Was this in Canada or the U.S.?
That one I'm going to go Canada.
You would be correct.
Isn't it called tube steak?
Good job, Eddie.
I don't know what it is.
All right.
Doing great.
You're on a roll. Here we go. This is called Just an Alarm Clock. This was a teen who stored his novelty alarm clock that looks like a bomb in his bag. Was this discovered at the U.S. border or the Canadian border?
It's a tough
U.S.
You say U.S.?
Yeah.
That was incorrect. That was actually in Canada. Some teen in Canada was trying to do that. Makes sense. All right, here we
You know
go.
why? Because they don't like start and stop times.
That's true.
I
That's
had enough
true.
of that.
All right, this one's called Not Candy Bars. So this was chocolate-coated illegal drugs wrapped in candy wrappers. Did they find this here in the U.S. or was that found in Canada?
Canada.
Incorrect. That
Started
was found
so hot.
here in the U.S. Yep. Okay. Next one, Aston Martin. And yes, someone actually brought a new Aston Martin and didn't declare it at the border. Was this discovered at the U.S. side or the Canada side?
Canada side.
That was correct.
Ooh.
Someone was trying to leave Canada with an Aston Martin and not declaring it. All right, we got 2 left. This is meat in a puzzle box. So uncooked meat, which is illegal to cross borders, uncooked meat was smuggled in and hidden inside these wooden puzzle boxes in hopes that they couldn't find them because they can't figure out the puzzle. Was this discovered in the U.S. or in Canada?
Oh, that could be either one. I'm going to go Canada, though.
That's incorrect. That was discovered in the U.S.
Do they have Bergie bits keeping it cold? Or?
I know.
Must have.
Probably not.
I don't know. All right, then this is the last one. We always save the best for last. This is called Weird Aphrodisiac. Maz, you like this one.
Thank you. Thanks.
Wow.
Chinese culture believe that a cat penis can be an aphrodisiac and a medical cure.
I've heard about this.
This was confiscated and considered meat, and so they confiscated it immediately. Was this discovered in U.S. or Canada, the cat penises?
I'm going to go Canada.
And you would be correct. All right, way to put us strong, my Canadian cat friend.
I didn't even know cats had those.
They do.
Yeah,
I guess
they're-
they
I've
were.
actually heard of that before, though,
Yeah,
which is
Really?
crazy. Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
I've never heard of that.
And that is crazy. All right. Well, I appreciate you playing along with us, Eddie. Great job. You actually did pretty good on that, believe it or not. So tell us this. How can our listeners find you or follow you on social media?
They can find me on Twitter, Eddie Sheerr there. Facebook, meteorologist Eddie Sheerr, and Instagram, Eddie Sheerr. Same thing on Twitter.
Did you say Eddie Bear?
Eddie Sheerr.
Eddie
Oh,
Sheerr,
Sheerr.
and
Eddie Sheerr.
spell Sheer for people.
Sheerr.
It's kind of unique. Unique. Okay.
R.
Well, hey, we're going to go ahead and take our final break with our Tornado Talk segment and the story of the 1957 Fargo F5 tornado. And we will be right back with some weather fools. So stay tuned. All right, Eddie, can you do us one favor?
Okay.
Can you do a little sound bite for us and just say this is Eddie Sheerr of NTV or Newfoundland's NTV, whatever, and you're listening to the Stormfront Freaks podcast.
Newfoundland.
Three.
Newfoundland.
Newfoundland.
Stormfront Freaks.
Stormfront
it.
Freaks, yes.
3,
podcast.
2. I'm Eddie Sheerr, NTV's Chief Meteorologist from Newfoundland and Labrador in Canada, and you're listening to the Storm Front Freaks podcast.
Very good.
Man, give him a raise.
Well done,
Nicely
sir.
done.
Well done. Well, Eddie, hey, I appreciate it. I know you got to get some sleep, and
It's time.
you got maybe 45 minutes before you got to get up for your daughter or something like that, probably.
You're not
Wow.
wrong. Yeah.
That's great.
So, hey, thanks. I will.
Thank you
I'll
much.
follow up with you with an email. We will post the audio version of this podcast. It'll get posted on Sunday, and then I'll follow up with you too on the video, the edited video, and where that'll be and all that stuff. But I'll follow up with you. But hey, thanks so much for giving us the time.
Thank you for having me. Had a great time.
Hey,
Cool.
happy Father's
Thank you.
Day.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you
happy
very much.
Father's
Same to all you
Day.
dads out there. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
All your
that's
dads,
cool.
Thank you.
See you.
All
buddy.
right,
Good
see you,
job.
Eddie.
See ya.
Hi, Eddie.
He's fun.
I love Eddie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he was really good. Iceberg bites or Bergie bites.
Bergie
Hashtag
bites.
Bergie
bites.
bits.
Bits. Yeah,
Yes.
not bites. Bits.
That
Could
sounds
lose
like
those at the border.
Sounds like a
that's
show
a
title.
show title to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I lost my Bergie bits at the
pretty
border. Yeah.
All right, MJ, we got any shout outs on our live stream right now? Anybody tuning in?
A couple people happy to see Jen back. That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love you guys. You guys are all amazing and wonderful.
Hold on.
And
Beautiful.
Parker,
I love you. I miss you.
you know, Parker, our faithful viewer, was playing along with the
Border Patrol.
lightning round. Yep. I couldn't tell exactly how many he was getting because he sees it. He sees it
gets
just
a little
couple-
later.
a little
Yeah.
few seconds after us. But yeah,
Oh, yeah. There should be a way we could track that and give somebody an award.
This is true.
oh, we'll have to think about that.
Let's see if we can make MJ's job harder.
That's right. Ways to make MJ work more.
Well, I love that.
Yeah, slow that down. Thanks, Mark.
That's all right.
All right, so coming back, we'll start with Weather Fools. Maz, you will introduce what hashtag
right.
Weather Fools is.
Yeah.
And I have 1, 2, 3, I have 5
Wow.
tonight. There's just Weather Fools right now
Wow.
all over the place.
Kind of
so
a fool hog, aren't you?
Yeah, just a little bit. I'm glad you have those. Yeah.
I know, me too.
see, that's why I bring them to the table, folks. I know I have to work 5 times as hard for my team.
Taking
Thanks,
5 for
See,
the
Jen,
team.
nothing's changed. Matt
I,
still doesn't bring anything to the table except his funny quips
I brought
Yes,
beer.
I love you.
Aw,
at his
thanks.
beer. All right, so no other Weather Fools?
I've got one that was a suggestion from a
There you go.
viewer, and I'll just describe it because it's easy to describe, and we
Okay.
can post the actual link.
Well, we'll go with you first, MJ.
Sounds good.
Yep.
All right,
81
and then
show notes.
and I will finish, Maz. I'll finish with Q. Quincy Vagel had one that I'm going to share.
Oh, yeah.
And then you can, when I'm done, don't forget for you to close episode 81. Show notes, stormfrontfreaks.com or your podcast app show notes. All right. And then we're going to flip it over to Jen. WX Resources, Jen. So if you remember what that is, these are just cool websites or photos or books or
Oh, we
neat
can do
resources.
books and I didn't realize. we could-
Whatever, man. It's a weather resource. It can be pretty much whatever you want it to be. That's what's great.
Janice
We're-
Dean's book.
We're all in.
Well, I was thinking about that. I saw it in Walmart the other day, and I was like, I need to get it
Wait, when is she on?
next week, right?
Oh, Janice
or
Dean
next
is
one.
2 episodes, so 4 weeks.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in 2 weeks we have Extreme Tornado Tours. Nick,
Oh, that's exciting.
Nick is on from Extreme Tornado
in a
Tours.
month. You can still say it. You can still mention her book. That's cool.
Doesn't she have 2 though?
Yeah. Actually, I
Uh,
think she has 3.
Because she has the kids book too.
Right.
She has the
Um,
kids' books, Froggy Frogcast.
Froggy
Frog-
Frogcaster.
Froggy the-
Freddy
Freddy the
Frogcaster.
Frogcaster.
Freddie the Frogcaster. Yeah. Freddie the
Um,
Frogcaster.
I would say if you're going to use that as a weather resource, probably read it first. But
Well, no. So I did read Freddie the Frogcaster to my daughter.
oh, cool.
So yeah, I can do that with a little education.
Sure.
How old
Yeah.
is she now?
She's almost 2.
Oh, my
she's-
goodness.
She's got a little belly still. She looks like a miniature pregnant person.
Oh, so do I,
Everyone's
though.
Me too. How about that?
No, she's adorable.
sad.
She's amazing. I'll have to sneak her on here somehow.
That's so cool.
All right,
Yeah.
so you introduced what WX resources are, and then I do have one.
Oh,
You
good.
have 5.
Anybody else?
WX resources, right? Sorry.
Anybody else with the WX resource?
So
I forgot.
I have a cool. So now that I'm kind of more so, I forgot. I don't know. Do you guys have a list of what you've used already, so I can kind of peek at
We
it?
should have that. We don't.
I've always thought of compiling all those from the show notes, and and actually making it available to people. Hey, here's a list of Stormfront Freaks WX resources.
Yeah.
It's nothing easy, but I would say this: you can always bring it up, and then we can tell you either, oh yeah, we just did that like 5 episodes ago, or like, yeah, I think we covered that, but it's probably been a year,
2 years.
So it doesn't hurt to do it again, because
Okay.
there are obviously tons of people that continue to listen and add to our group. Which, by the way, we just went over 100,000 downloads, which was pretty cool. That was
I
awesome.
know.
Awesome.
Congratulations,
In
guys. I worked
one
very
day.
hard for that.
It was in one day, right?
For something that when we started this thing, we're like, I'd be happy if we can maybe get 50 people to download this thing, because
Our
it's
moms.
like you're at
and
least
about 10
teaching in
other
a
listeners.
classroom. Yeah,
You
our
guys
moms
started.
have all downloaded it 100,000 times. That's why.
I love it. Did you guys? You started in March of 2016?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, good
My
memory.
goodness.
I know.
No,
I was
that seems wrong, but it's right.
Yeah.
Anybody else with WX resources, or is it just me?
So I have a video editing mobile app. So I have like a lot of stuff I've learned with just because we're all on social media too. So
Mhm.
there's I can. Yeah,
Yes.
so.
Sounds perfect. I love it.
Okay.
Great idea.
Perfect.
So you can go first and then go to me, or either way. I don't care how you do it. And then, but whoever finishes, and just remind people, okay, all these resources will be available on our show notes. Episode 81, you can find on stormfrontfreaks.com, or a lot of times now, if you're just using your phone, you can get the show notes right off your podcast
perfect.
app. So
Perfect.
We can just have you kind of tape that and just play it, so we don't even have to say that.
If I don't remember something, just remind me.
yeah, I'll jump. I do that for Maz all the time.
Oh,
so
he
that's
does.
okay.
Yeah.
That's
I'll
why
jump
he
in.
hit the lightning round twice. That's the mark. Shut up, Maz.
MJ, we have some freak fan box.
Hey, Fanbox got a couple in it. Yes.
All right, and then I will close this out.
Cool.
Woo!
Okay. Any questions? We good?
Yep.
We good. All right, Maz. Well, I'm going to count you, or I'll count you in.
Okay.
All right, 3, 2.
All right, welcome back. Time now for Weather Fool. This is where people are acting foolish, basically, and they're doing things that are foolish/stupid in the weather, where you're like, dude, that's just dumb. And so a lot of times that's caught on video, and we like to thank people for that. So to kick things off here for tonight, MJ, you have one, don't you? Is it from a viewer, or is it yours?
Yes, one of our viewers/listeners, Parker Owens, sent us in a weather fool. He tweeted it out to us, and it comes from Mitchell McCoy, is where it originated.
The real McCoy.
The real McCoy, that's right.
He is.
But Parker found this for us, and I won't put it on screen because it's fairly easy to describe. It's another, sort of flood-related weather fool. But this one is interesting because it was in downtown Little Rock. The Arkansas River was just raging through through downtown, and some guy climbs over the wall, to the concrete wall that they've got to hold the river in, right? Climbs over the wall into this raging river and scoots across the side, and then sits down on something. I don't know if he was going to try to sun himself or what it was. But you will have to look at this on the show notes and take a look at this, because it's amazing. It's amazing that he got to the spot that he sat down at, and I don't know what he was going to do to get out, but there you go. Don't do that. That's really ridiculous.
The relaxing sounds of the raging river.
That's right.
Of the flash flood.
That's right. Awesome. Very cool. So thank you, MJ, and thank you. Who was that again that sent that?
That was Parker Owens.
Thanks, Parker. That was awesome.
We love
All
you,
right,
Parker.
Phil, you've got not one. No, you're just kind of a fool hog, aren't you?
God, I can't. These things are just now. They're all over the place. We have weather fools, and I can't even cover all of them in one episode. But I do have 5 I'm going to share with you this evening. So the first one, I'm just going to go kind of right down the row and share what I've got. So the first one is from a former guest, Michael Armstrong. And Mike Armstrong at KOCO TV in Oklahoma City. So he tweeted out this photo, says, here's what the storm looked like from Mustang as it rolled in this morning. Wow, thanks to Clay Gregory for sending in the photo. And if you look at the photo, there's this huge, massive shelf cloud of a supercell storm coming into town. And in the foreground, you've got 8 little leaguers practicing, getting ready to play a game of baseball. They're in their uniform. They're all ready to roll. And here comes this massive shelf cloud. Is probably, what would you guys say, like 5 minutes away, 10 minutes away?
Bad news, Bears.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. All right. So whatever coach still has their kids warming up with that shelf cloud in the background. All right, the second one I've got, I mentioned earlier. So this is the Sinclair Group and WICS, which is in Springfield, Illinois, put their gag order on and then ended up firing yesterday Chief Meteorologist Joe Crane for speaking out against Code Red days. And I'm actually going to play this for you guys so you can hear what he said. I thought it was very, very well said.
An isolated tornado prompting a Code Red weather alert. Of course, the Code Red weather alert is designed to give you an early heads up well before any watches or warnings are issued, to give you the opportunity to plan, prepare, and protect your family against strong to severe thunderstorms. That being said, it's not the perfect solution because, of course, with Code Red, it's all-inclusive. It doesn't recognize that not all storms are created equal. On the other hand, the National Weather Service has the severe weather outlook every day, which offers a scale, if you will, not only in a color-coded scale, but on a 1 to 5 scale, not only giving you the potential of how frequent the storms will be, whether isolated or widespread, or the intensity of the storms from simply possibility of some damaging winds and some small hail, all the way up to a large outbreak of tornadoes and life-threatening situation. On the other hand, Code Red was created by likely a journalism school graduate. That being said, I'm a journalism school graduate, so it's not perfect.
That's
a lot of people not very happy with this over the last few months since we've implemented it on Storm Team 20. That's evident by the thousands of comments on social media, letters to the editor, frequent calls to local talk radio shows. We've heard you. And yes, we realize you have some very strong and passionate views about it. And as far as the Code Red name itself goes, we get that too. I certainly do. It's certainly, when you hear Code Red, you think as they say, the feces is about to hit the fan. So with that being said, we understand your concerns. And we want you to know that we take them very seriously as far as myself goes. I don't take myself very seriously, but I do take my job seriously and my responsibility to the public. So we want you to know it's not us. This is a corporate initiative, the Code Red Alert. And behind the scenes, many of us have tried to dissuade it for the last few months to try something else that's less controversial to the viewers. And it continues to be controversial based on all the social media that continues to this day. So keep in mind, despite the fact that this facility is owned by a corporation, it's still licensed under the authority by the Federal Communications Commission to serve the public interest, convenience, and necessity. So you still have a voice. Keep those cards and letters coming. I'll let you be the judge on whether or not Code Red serves the public interest.
Wow.
And by the
What
way,
do you think of that?
This is my last day on air.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I don't blame him at all.
Yeah.
I understand the frustrations.
It's hard. It's hard when it's like, someone, like a corporation, they don't deal with the impact and people messaging and tweeting and calling. They have no idea. And it's just, I feel like he could have said it maybe a little bit, not mention feces and stuff, but at the same time, because he's probably frustrated. It just, what I don't like about it is the fact that he got fired and he was sticking up for the people. Like, are people like boycotting him being fired and petitioning?
No,
okay,
yes.
good.
Yep.
Good.
I think Eddie was right. I think he knew what was going to happen. You know, he knew what he was doing, and he was probably just at the end of his line, you know, and made his last stand.
And you know what? You wait 6 months to a year, another consultant comes in and says, now we're going to call it this.
Yep.
And then it's gone.
I've
seen that happen a lot.
So my weather fool there is obviously the Sinclair Group and WICS, and you know, I get both sides, but definitely I think that he made a good point, and good for him.
And the
for
views
doing that.
still are not necessarily the views.
That's correct. All right, so moving on to weather fool number 3, I have to share with you guys. This is from the Vortex crew. Twitter. This is at Vortex Chasing. They got a picture. It says, that moment when a tornado is approaching, but you're a farmer and you just don't care anymore. So there's a tornado in the background, and in the foreground, there's a farmer who's tilling up his fields, getting ready to plant. He's just moving his tractor. He's got to do what he's got to do, or she. Who knows? Could be a he or she. But I love it because that's kind of close.
That's really close.
Like tornado.
I mean, oh my gosh, I've never seen a video like that with them. I mean, just we'll just keep going.
You just got that to the
so this one,
Big Green Tractor song.
Oh, John Deere, yeah, the green. Yeah, that's good. That'd be a good one. You can make a little video out of that. Jen, you can tell us about that with your WX resources.
Oh
all right, next weather fool number 4. Good luck at pronouncing this. Butengebiden. This is Twitter. At Butengebiden. I don't know what that is. We got to get Luna Light in here to help us out. She's from Germany.
Yep, she can translate.
But it says on their tweet, says never use an umbrella during a thunderstorm. And here's a lady who's under their water spout. Either this is their house or a business. She's got an umbrella, but the water spout's just dumping water on her umbrella. And I'm going to play the video so that you can kind of see what happens next. She steps away from the water spout. Bam! Oh, massive lightning strike.
God.
Thank God it didn't. I don't think it hit her. Boom! But it certainly hit pretty darn close to her.
That is crazy.
And that is not when you want to have an umbrella outside in the open.
Why was she under that water spout anyway?
I don't know. But wow.
That's horrifying. Yeah.
I mean,
that's like
what do you say, 50 feet? Would you say it's maybe 50, 60 feet from her, that lightning strike?
Or closer.
Is there a tree? Looks like there's a tree back there.
Oh, yeah, it's in the backyard, yeah.
Just beyond that fence, which is not very far.
No, man.
Jeez.
Anyway, she's just lucky that didn't hit her.
Even the person filming, you could tell they fumbled the camera.
Yeah. Freak out. Okay, so Weather Fool there. And Weather Fool number 5. This is really Weather Fools number 5. But one of our former co-hosts, Quincy Vagel, called him Q, Storm Chaser. This is probably my biggest pet peeve in the world, but here he is out storm chasing. This is in Texas, and of course it starts hailing. And what happens? Well, you got a bunch of flippin' morons parking under the Galdarn overpass, and they're parking in all lanes. So they're blocking all stinking lanes, so it keeps everybody else from being able to get anywhere. Yeah. And they can't go seek shelter somewhere off an exit or off, because they're hogging the stupid overpass because it's hailing out. And I'm telling you guys, if this were ever to happen to me, I would stop and I would get out of the car. I don't care if it's hailing, and I would go and I would try and scare the crap out of the people in the cars that are under there. I would get my road rage on, because this drives me nuts that you would not think of other people and only think of yourself, and not try and pull over and leave open lanes so that people can keep getting to shelter. Because the worst thing obviously can happen is where there's hail. A lot of times there can be a tornado. And if that were to happen, now people can't even get to safety. So please don't be the stupid flippin' weather fool that parks under an overpass in the lane and prevents people from getting by when it's hailing out.
It's the angry Phil.
Because if I'm behind you, I'm telling you, I don't care if I break your window. I don't care any of that kind of stuff, because what you're doing is more dangerous than that.
For your next birthday, I'm getting you a bucket of rocks painted like baseball-sized hailstones.
There you go. That's right. Oh, shoot, I guess sitting under the overpass didn't prevent your window from crashing in on you. I'm so sorry.
This is a new side of you, Phil.
I know, Phil. It's like,
Wow.
But I understand, though. I mean, cars were driving off even into the grass in the median block. And there's
Trying to
no
get around,
way.
right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, and
my
what if you
God.
got somebody who's not paying attention and is doing 65, down the road? That's horrible.
It's scary.
Yeah.
Really scary. I don't like this at
Yeah.
all.
All right,
Okay.
so those are my 5 weather fools.
Thank you. I wasn't sure if there was more.
Well,
One more and a
Good
six
ones.
pack next time.
That's right.
That's right. Hey, and in case you want to see those videos, you can check things out on stormfrontfreaks.com, episode 81 show notes, or you can also do it on your podcast app in the show notes section as well. So thank you, Phil.
That's right. All right. Hey,
All right.
Jen, welcome back. Let's go ahead and talk about WX resources.
So this is like the best part of the
Remember
show on
this?
our podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, weather resources. I do remember it. So now that I've gotten into a lot of different social media, I'm going to share some social media tools as well. And, we've got a lot of storm chasers, weather enthusiasts that shoot video. And there are a lot of different video editing apps out there. Splice. I don't know. Do any of you guys use Splice? Have you used Splice before?
Have not? Nope.
The olden days, it was
I'm
a
liking it.
cutter and a board.
Yeah. Well,
called
so
a splice.
its name kind of describes itself. It allows you to chop up video easily on your mobile phone. And so like if you're storm chasing or, out in the field, you're a reporter or just, taking video of your kids, it doesn't matter. You can easily edit it and chunk it up and do whatever you need to really quickly, easily. It's free. It's amazing. I think you should try it and you should download it for sure. And I
How,
believe
how long have you used that?
I've only actually, so I wish I was storm chasing more and I don't use it. So I actually use Specs. Do you have the Specs?
What?
You
Like
are
glasses?
so ahead of us.
Well, I know.
I do. So the spectacles that Snapchat, they made spectacles. So they're glasses, they're sunglasses, but you press the button. And so there's a little thing that'll take a photo or a 10-second video or a 20-second video. And so
Is it like a Google Glass type thing, or
No, it doesn't have a screen, right? It's just a camera.
Yeah. This is just their sunglasses, but they have a little button that's a camera and also
It's like a spy camera.
Yeah. So I
Man,
use
just
those.
think like 1940s, James Bond spy.
well,
you know that.
shagalicious, baby.
So I've been using them a lot with like my daughter running around, but you can use them like anytime you see something. I mean, you can just take a photo. You don't have to fumble with your phone. So this could be like a tech resource
I
kind of
haven't even
thing.
heard of that either. That's cool.
Yeah. I actually, let's see, do I have my specs around? I don't know. Next time I'll wear my specs.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll take
Cool.
a photo of us.
You're so
And then
you're so tech cool.
you guys are tech cool. Okay, so the next one, so it's Freddy the Frogcaster. So it's a book. So this is all about books, weather stations, helping you forecast. Weather resources can be just about anything. But for the little ones, teaching them about weather, this is a great series of books by Janice Dean, who in fact is going to be our guest, not this next episode, but an episode from now, 2 episodes from now. But they're great. They're so cute. I've read them to my daughter and she loves them. And she loves froggies anyway. But they're fantastic for just teaching even, 2-year-olds about the weather. She also has another book out, Mostly Sunny, and How I Learned to Keep Smiling Through the Rainiest of Days, which I have yet to read, but I really want to. So
Well, we'll get to talk to her about that in a couple episodes.
Yep.
So that'll be awesome.
I know. I'm excited.
Frogcaster one- I've read the Frogcaster one too, and so I've given it to my 1-year-old grandson.
Have you really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Isn't it your favorite? Aren't they really good?
Yeah, they are.
They're very good.
She's very good at this. So I'm actually excited to read her new book.
Yeah, I want to
'Cause I think
too.
it's a little bit more for grown-ups.
Hmm
Not like it's adult book or anything.
Yeah.
but I'm just gonna stop now. So you go.
All right. Does anybody else have a weather resource?
I do.
Oh
That's
Phil, go.
shocking.
But I've only got one. I don't have 5.
Oh.
So the weather resource I have for you is interesting, but I need my meteorologist friends to help me out with this, okay?
Okay.
So Maz and Jen. This was from Kelton Halbert on Twitter.
Oh, I saw this.
And so here's what it says. It says this sequence shows the lowest model level potential temperature perturbation. Is that the word?
Yep.
Perturbation. Green is approximately neutral buoyancy, so blues are cold perturbations, and yellows, oranges are warm perturbations. You can see multiple vortex structure in the tornado, and that most air comes from the cold pool. So that's a lot of sciencey talk, and I don't quite. That's why I need you guys. What is that? What's cold perturbation, warm perturbation? What is that?
Well, first of all, I'll tell you from a non-meteorological standpoint, it is honkin' cool to watch, because he's got a video. I don't know how long the video is. Is it like a minute?
No, it's like 45 seconds.
45 seconds.
And I'll
and he
play it,
zooms into it, and it perfectly represents where the multiple vortices of the tornado are.
I need to see his handle. Who's this again?
Yeah, so I'll show you.
Watch this.
It's Kelton Halbert, but it's really interesting to see from a temperature standpoint what's going on in a tornado, and you can also see the multiple vortices going on in there in the circulation. But it just kind of shows you the oranges, yellows, reds, kind of how they're getting wrapped around. But for the most part, it's a lot of the blues and greens and the colder air that's still following a majority of that circulation. I don't know what that means. I just think it does look cool.
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, you got like the mesovortices within the tornado, but then you can see it's like these pockets of warm air like bubbling up or coming up from just the entire like thunderstorm itself, it seems. I'm trying to understand the main, like how big it really is.
I'm trying to remember, is it potential temperatures at theta E? Oh my gosh, it's
yes.
Long. But if you watch and you get to the end of it, as the cold air completely wraps around it, it dies. So it's really, I mean, I watched it like 5 or 6 times, and it's not a flashback from the 60s, although it's very cool like that. And I was just like, I was mesmerized with this, and I had to watch it several times. And as that cold air completely begins to wrap around it, it just
see the blues. Yeah. Okay.
Get ready. It's coming in.
Maz, you're so I'm looking at, just because this is so fascinating. So they're talking about the similar thing that happens in tropical cyclones when they're dissipating. So you're right, when the cold air is wrapping around it, basically choking it off. That's what you're getting. So I think that's exactly what he's talking about.
And I don't know how you could apply that. There's got to be a way.
Yeah.
I don't know what the time lapse like is 1 second represent,
Yeah.
You're looking after the fact, but I'm like, oh my gosh, I've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah. I've never seen that. And there is some documentation on it, but there's not a lot, because I don't even remember really hearing much about it when I was in school or reading papers on it. But that's the fact that you can look at the temperatures, and actually it's a different way to visualize a tornado, the physical aspects of a tornado and the life cycle and how it's getting choked off, and like the even thunderstorm dissipating itself.
Right.
So it's really cool. It's amazing. I want to now learn more about that. So thanks.
So this
Phil.
again, it's Kelton Halbert, but on Twitter it's at Tempest Chasing.
Tempest Chasing.
At Tempest Chasing.
How many views does he have now?
But we'll I don't know. It's 211 retweets, 780 likes. I probably not as much, only because, like, to me, there's a lot of sciencey stuff going on here that I'm not as familiar with.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting, Maz, like you said, to watch how that cold air does cut it off, and to watch how the warm air within those multiple vortices.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You see those separate warm air circulation,
and it's hard to get a vision of the scale of it, because he does zoom way down into it, and I'm like, okay, wow.
I don't know exactly. Yeah. How much of the tornado, the thunderstorm? I want to see the actual.
I know. I'm like, where did he find that? Because I've never seen that before.
Yeah, that'll be our next weather resource. We'll do some research on it. We'll get back.
I'm gonna let you do that. Yeah,
I'll do some research on that, guys.
There you go.
I will get back to you, but you guys can get all our weather resources also on our show notes on stormfrontfreaks.com. And if you're listening to the show on the app, you can get it on the app.
Yeah, it's kind of cool now. All the show notes are usually right on the app there. You can pull it up and hit the link, and it'll take you right to the website.
You know what? She does do a better job of the weather resources. I'm just
no, I probably agree.
I couldn't get my voice that high first.
That's the only reason why I'm here.
Postcard, drop me a line.
You've got mail, baby.
All right, it's time for our Freak Fan Box. MJ, what do we got in the box today?
All right, we got a shout out to Jay Farlow, who shared in our Freak Fan Box a Trollbot fodder that I think you're going to see in an upcoming episode. So thank you to Jay. For
I'm pulling Weather Trollbot 5000 out of the garage next episode.
Awesome.
I think we got enough stuff for her to come up with. And Jen, you're not familiar with Weather Trollbot 5000.
No.
You're gonna love her.
Yeah. You're in for a treat.
You never know what you're gonna get.
Or get your earplugs out.
Or that too.
You never know.
I'm excited. Okay, yay. That makes me happy.
And Jeffrey Kordiak checked in and said this. I wanted to read this one to you. I happened to stumble upon your podcast while looking for a decent weather podcast. I listened to a few before I fell into you guys, and after episode 1, I deleted other podcasts and have been binging you guys since.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Very nice. Finally, a weather podcast that is
burning.
fun, entertaining, and full of knowledge. So keep up the good work. You have a solid show and one hell of a fan. Thank you, Jeffrey.
Woo!
Yeah, thanks, Jeff.
I love Jeff.
And it's surprising that he after listening to our first show, he was already in because
that wasn't even a good one.
Oh God, it was. I even
great.
listening to that today, I'm like pulling. That's why I don't have any hair.
Yeah.
That was so hard to get through. Oh my God. We had a physicist on the show.
That's right.
Way to start off the show with a bang. Bring a physicist on.
We were learning.
All right.
Always learning.
So thank you, Jeffrey. And if you want to deliver something to the Freak Fan Box, go ahead and tweet it to us. We are at Stormfront Freak, or go to facebook.com/StormfrontFreaks, or questions at stormfrontfreaks.com by old-fashioned email.
Send me a postcard, drop me a line.
You got mail, baby.
Yeah, you forgot we got a jingle, Maz. We got a jingle.
I know. I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
And you don't have to delete the other guys too.
No, you don't.
There's some great podcasts out there. There really are.
But if you wanted, that's okay.
Okay,
I mean, we're
fine.
not going to
Go
stop
ahead,
you.
Ben. Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, I think that just about does it for this episode of Stormfront Freaks podcast. Thanks for listening or watching. Before I reveal our next guest, if you do enjoy the show, please do us a favor. Leave a great review on your podcast app. And the written ones, if you write something, we'll actually share that on the air as well. And don't forget to subscribe to the show by hitting your podcast app subscribe button. It works just like a magazine or newspaper subscription. It assures you get the latest show delivered right to your podcast inbox the minute we release it. So that's the benefit of subscribing. You don't have to try and find us. Special thanks to our friend and guest tonight, Eddie Sheerr. He was a lot of fun to have on. Those Canadians, they're always fun.
And understand Newfoundland.
They know how to party. That's right. And our next episode in 2 weeks. So we're recording on June 27th with Nick Dreischman of Extreme Tornado Tours. So if you'd like to watch the recording live at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central, check out our YouTube channel by searching Stormfront Freaks. So for MJ, Maz, and Jen, welcome back. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to signal the all clear, and we will catch you guys next time. Good night, everybody.
Bye, guys.
All right, Jen, good to have you back, girl.
Yes,
Yay!
so great.
Thanks, Jen.
Oh my God, I miss you guys.
Good to have you back.
I
All
can't
right.
believe it's been over 2 years.
I know it.
Can't
That's
either.
crazy.
That's weird.
Wow.
I can't even think about that.
Oh,
That's
It
wild.
wasn't the same without you.
I know. I love you guys. I really do. Like, I feel like I fell right back in. It was just like yesterday. You guys are amazing. You guys are
Saying
so
you're
amazing.
meant to be a freak.
All right, so do us a favor, quick. Tell us what and our fans, because we're still live. But
Yep.
what are you doing? What are the plans? What's happened in your 2 years?
So I just left the Weather Channel. The Weather Channel was amazing. It was a dream to work there. And I basically kind of moved up as much as I could there. And so I love the people. I love everything, and I miss it. But I was ready to get another challenge, to move to the next level. And I've been doing social media at the Weather Channel, and I got an opportunity to be the new social media manager at Agora Pulse, which is a social media marketing tool like Hootsuite or Sprout, but better. And you should try it.
Oh, okay. I'm using
Yeah.
Hootsuite,
Alright.
so you'll have to set me up.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, so I'm running their social media channels, developing the strategy, and I'll be speaking at some conferences. They're based out of France and Paris.
Oh, geez.
Oui.
So, yeah, I know. So, yeah,
No,
it's
really,
an
I got to go to the bathroom.
it's an amazing company, and it's funny. We had a yearly retreat, and I went to France, and like half the company speaks French, half speaks English, but most of the French are bilingual and speak English too. But it's funny. I'm going to be learning a little bit of French, so maybe I'll be talking some French on here.
Is that
But
how they
it's
say it?
We
I'll be
need some more
talking
listeners in
French.
France.
I'll be talking
yeah, I know.
French.
I will get some listeners in France, but no, I'm just excited for the exciting things that we're going to be doing. I can't talk about all of it right now, but
Especially not when we're live still.
yeah, not when we're live still.
Right.
But just follow Agora Pulse on social channels. It's a great tool to mass publish things on all your social channels too.
And how do you spell that, Jen?
AGORAPULSE, Agora Pulse.
Thank you.
Pulse. Okay, not
Pulse.
Post. Agora
Pulse.
Pulse.
Yes, I have a
I'll have to use that.
Flashcards. Yeah.
All right. Sorry, Hootsuite. I'm dumping your ass.
Woo!
I'm
And that's a
I'm
good
willing
time
to buy
to
in.
stop the broadcast.